Life doesn't get tough by accident. It gets tough to ask you a question. How badly do you want the life you say you desire? Because anyone can stay positive when everything is working. Anyone can smile when the results are coming, when the doors are opening, when the world seems to agree with them. But the real test, the defining moment, is when everything slows down, when nothing makes sense, when you feel like you're giving your all and getting nothing in return. That's where positivity becomes a choice. And here's the truth. Positivity is not about pretending everything is okay. It's about believing that even when things are not okay, you will be. When life gets tough, most people start asking the wrong questions. They ask, why is this happening to me? But the strongest individuals ask a different question. They ask, what is this trying to teach me? Because every challenge carries a lesson. Every setback carries direction. And every difficult moment is shaping a version of you that is stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what's ahead. You don't build strength when life is easy. You build it in the resistance. Think about it. Nothing grows in comfort. Growth requires pressure. It requires uncertainty. It requires moments where you doubt yourself and still decide to move forward anyway. That's positivity. Positivity is waking up on a hard day and choosing discipline over doubt. It's taking one more step when your mind tells you to stop. It's believing in progress even when you can't yet see results. And most importantly, it's staying connected to your why. Because when your why is strong enough, your how will always find a way. When you know why you started, when you know what you're fighting for, when you know the kind of person you want to become, then the obstacles don't break you, they build you. But here's where many people lose their way. They try to do it alone. Positivity is not just an internal battle, it's an environmental one. The people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, the conversations you engage in, they all shape your mindset. So if you want to stay positive, you must protect your energy. Surround yourself with people who remind you of your strength when you forget it. Feed your mind with ideas that expand your belief, not limit it. Create a space where growth is normal and quitting is not an option. Because in the end, staying positive isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about becoming the kind of person who can walk through hardship without losing belief. And that's the shift. You stop seeing tough times as something to escape and start seeing them as something that prepares you. So when life gets hard, and it will, don't shrink. Stand firm. Remind yourself that this moment is temporary, but the strength you're building is permanent, and keep going. Not because it's easy, not because it's guaranteed, but because deep down, you know this is part of your journey, and you're not here to give up halfway. Start with your why, because without it, effort feels heavy, discipline feels forced, and every obstacle feels like a reason to quit instead of a reason to grow. Your why is not just a goal. It is the emotional fuel behind every action you take when motivation fades and results are nowhere in sight. It is the reason you wake up early when your body wants more sleep. The reason you keep moving when progress feels invisible. The reason you stand back up when life knocks you down harder than expected. Most people focus on what they want, but very few take the time to understand why they want it, and that is exactly why they lose direction when things get difficult. When your focus is only on the outcome, your commitment becomes fragile, easily shaken by delays, criticism, or failure. But when your focus is rooted in your why, your commitment becomes unbreakable because it is no longer dependent on external validation or immediate success. Your why gives meaning to your struggle. It transforms pain into purpose and confusion into clarity. Without it, challenges feel like punishment, but with it, challenges become part of the process. When you know why you are doing something, you stop questioning every obstacle and start embracing them as necessary steps forward. You begin to understand that growth is not supposed to be comfortable, and that discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong, but a sign that something is changing inside you. This shift in perspective is what separates those who quit from those who continue, those who doubt from those who believe, those who wish from those who achieve. The strongest individuals are not the ones with the most talent or the easiest path. They are the ones with the clearest why. Because clarity creates confidence, and confidence creates consistency. When your why is clear, you no longer rely on motivation to take action. You move with intention, with direction, with purpose that does not waver when circumstances change. Even on your worst days, when nothing seems to go your way, your why reminds you that this moment is temporary, but your mission is not. It reminds you that the struggle you are facing today is building the strength you will need tomorrow. It reminds you that quitting would cost you far more than continuing, and the truth is, your why does not have to be perfect, it just has to be real. It has to be something that resonates deep within you, something that makes you feel something when you think about it, something that pulls you forward even when fear tries to hold you back. It could be the life you want. to create, the people you want to support, the person you want to become, or the impact you want to leave behind. Whatever it is, it must be strong enough to anchor you when everything else feels uncertain, because life will test you. There will be moments when your effort feels unnoticed, when your progress feels slow, and your confidence feels shaken. In those moments, you will not rise to your goals, you will fall to the strength of your why. And if your why is strong, you will rise again, stronger, more focused, more determined than before. You will stop looking for easy paths and start building lasting ones. You will stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating it through action. Starting with your why is not just a strategy, it is a foundation. It is what keeps you grounded when everything around you feels unstable. It is what gives you the courage to continue when others give up. It is what turns ordinary effort into extraordinary resilience. And once you truly understand your why, you stop chasing motivation and start becoming unstoppable in your pursuit of what truly matters. Redefine struggle as growth. Because the moment you change the meaning of what you are going through, you change the way you respond to it, and that response determines who you become. Most people see struggle as a sign that something is wrong, as proof that they are off track, as a signal to slow down or stop completely. But the truth is far more powerful than that. Struggle is not the opposite of success, it is the pathway to it. It is not there to break you, it is there to build you into someone who can handle what you once thought was impossible. The problem is not the struggle itself, the problem is the story you attach to it. If you tell yourself that struggle means failure, you will resist it, fear it, and eventually run from it. But if you begin to see struggle as growth, everything changes. You stop asking why this is happening to you, and start asking what this is doing for you. Every challenge you face is developing something within you that comfort never could. It is strengthening your patience, sharpening your focus, testing your commitment, and expanding your limits. Growth does not happen when everything is easy and predictable. It happens when you are stretched beyond what feels familiar, when you are forced to adapt, when you are pushed to think differently and act with courage despite uncertainty. That tension you feel, that pressure that makes you uncomfortable, that is the exact environment where transformation takes place. Without it, you remain the same. With it, you evolve. Think about the moments in your life that shaped you the most. They were not the easy days, not the times when everything went according to plan. They were the difficult moments, the setbacks, the failures, the times when you felt like giving up but chose to keep going anyway. Those were the moments that built your resilience, that taught you lessons no success ever could. And yet, when you face new struggles, it is easy to forget that those same forces are still working in your favor. You begin to doubt, to question, to hesitate. But the truth remains the same. Struggle is not your enemy, it is your greatest teacher. When you redefine struggle as growth, you stop measuring your progress by comfort and start measuring it by courage. You begin to understand that feeling lost does not mean you are failing, it means you are learning. You realize that setbacks are not endings, they are adjustments. You start to embrace the process instead of resisting it. And in doing so, you unlock a level of strength that most people never reach because they never allow themselves to stay in the discomfort long enough to grow from it. This shift in mindset gives you power. It removes the fear of failure because failure is no longer something to avoid, it becomes something to use. It builds resilience because you are no longer shaken by difficulty, you are shaped by it. It creates consistency because you are not dependent on things going your way. You are committed to moving forward no matter what. You become someone who does not need perfect conditions to take action. Someone who understands that progress is not always visible, but is always happening beneath the surface. The strongest individuals are not those who avoid struggle. They are the ones who lean into it, who understand that every challenge is preparing them for something greater. They do not wait for life to get easier, they get stronger. They do not look for shortcuts, they build endurance. They do not see obstacles as barriers, they see them as opportunities to rise to a new level of capability and belief. Redefining struggle as growth is not about ignoring the pain or pretending it does not exist. It is about recognizing that the pain has purpose, that the difficulty has direction, that every moment of resistance is shaping a version of you that is more capable than the one who started. And once you truly understand that, you stop trying to escape the struggle and start using it as the very thing that drives you forward, turning every challenge into a step toward becoming everything you are meant to be. Choose response over reaction, because in the space between what happens to you and what you do next lies the true measure of your strength. Most people live in reaction mode, allowing circumstances, emotions, and other people to dictate their behavior without ever realizing they have a choice. A reaction is instant, emotional, and uncontrolled. It is driven by impulse, shaped by fear, and often followed by regret. A response, on the other hand, is intentional. It is thoughtful, grounded, and aligned with who you want to become rather than what you are feeling in the moment. The difference between the two may seem small, but it is the difference between a life controlled by external forces and a life led by internal clarity. When life gets tough, your first instinct will often be to react. You feel pressure and you push back. You feel fear and you hesitate. You face criticism and you defend. These reactions are natural, but they are not always helpful. They keep you stuck in cycles where your progress depends on how easy or difficult your environment is. If everything is going well, you feel good and perform well. But the moment things go wrong, your mindset shifts, your energy drops, and your actions follow. This is not strength. This is dependency. True strength is built when your actions are not dictated by your circumstances, but by your standards. Choosing to respond means creating a pause between stimulus and action. It means stepping back for a moment, even when emotions are high, and asking yourself a better question. Instead of asking what you feel like doing, you ask what the best version of you would do. That question alone can change everything. It shifts your focus from emotion to intention, from impulse to purpose. It reminds you that you are not defined by what happens to you, but by how you choose to handle it. This is where discipline becomes more powerful than motivation, because in difficult moments, motivation is unreliable. It fades quickly, especially when things do not go your way. But discipline, rooted in conscious response, keeps you aligned with your goals regardless of how you feel. It allows you to act with consistency, even when emotions are pulling you in the opposite direction. It creates stability in the middle of chaos, clarity in the middle of confusion. When you choose response over reaction, you take ownership of your life. You stop blaming circumstances, other people, or past experiences for where you are. You begin to understand that while you cannot control everything that happens, you can always control your next move. And that control is where your power lies. It is what allows you to turn setbacks into comebacks, criticism into growth, and pressure into performance. This does not mean ignoring your emotions or pretending they do not exist. It means acknowledging them without letting them take control. It means feeling frustration without acting out of it, experiencing fear without being paralyzed by it, facing doubt without surrendering to it. It is about mastering your internal world so that your external world does not dictate your direction. Over time, this practice builds resilience. It strengthens your ability to remain calm under pressure, to think clearly in difficult situations, and to make decisions that serve your long-term vision rather than your short-term comfort. You become someone who is not easily shaken, someone who can navigate challenges with confidence and composure. And that level of control is what separates those who drift through life from those who lead it with purpose. Choosing response over reaction is not a one-time decision. It is a habit that must be developed daily. It is built in small moments, in everyday situations where you consciously decide to pause, reflect, and act with intention. Each time you do, you reinforce your ability to stay in control, to stay focused, to stay aligned with your goals, and eventually it becomes who you are. You no longer operate on impulse, you operate on purpose. You no longer allow external events to dictate your internal state, you create your own stability from within. You no longer react to life, you respond to it with clarity, strength, and direction, shaping your path. One intentional decision at a time build inner resilience daily. Because strength is not created in a single moment of pressure, it is developed quietly in the routines you repeat when no one is watching. Most people wait for challenges to appear before they try to become strong, but by then it often feels overwhelming, unpredictable, and too heavy to handle. True resilience is built long before the storm arrives. It is built in the small choices, the consistent habits, the disciplined actions that seem insignificant in the moment but compound into unshakable strength over time. The way you think, the way you speak to yourself, the way you respond to minor discomforts every single day is shaping how you will handle major challenges when they come. Resilience is not about being unbreakable, it is about becoming adaptable. It is about training your mind to stay steady when circumstances are unstable, to remain focused when distractions are everywhere, to continue moving forward even when progress feels slow or invisible. And this kind of mental toughness does not come from big breakthroughs, it comes from small, repeated acts of discipline. Waking up when you do not feel like it, staying committed when motivation fades, choosing growth when comfort is available. These are the moments that build your internal foundation. They may not feel powerful at the time, but they are preparing you for something bigger. Every day presents opportunities to strengthen your resilience, but most of them are disguised as inconvenience or discomfort. It could be a difficult conversation you would rather avoid, a task that requires more effort than you expected, a moment of self-doubt that challenges your confidence. In those moments, you have a choice. You can choose what is easy, or you can choose what builds you. And every time you choose the harder path, the more intentional path, you reinforce your ability to handle pressure. You teach yourself that you are capable of more than you thought, that discomfort is not something to fear, but something to grow through. The key is consistency. Building resilience is not about intensity, it is about repetition. It is about showing up for yourself every single day, even when it feels small, even when it feels like it does not matter. Because over time, those small actions accumulate. They reshape your mindset, strengthen your discipline, and increase your capacity to handle stress and uncertainty. You begin to notice that situations which once overwhelmed you now feel manageable. Challenges that once made you doubt yourself now feel like opportunities to prove your growth. This is the power of daily resilience. Another important part of building inner resilience is the way you interpret your experiences. Your mind is constantly creating meaning out of what happens around you. If you label every difficulty as a problem, you will feel defeated. But if you begin to see challenges as training, as preparation, as necessary steps in your development, your entire perspective shifts. You stop asking why things are hard and start recognizing that the difficulty is what is making you stronger. This mindset does not remove the struggle, but it changes how you experience it. It gives you control in situations where you might otherwise feel powerless. Resilience also requires patience. Growth does not happen overnight, and strength is not built instantly. There will be days when you feel like you are not progressing, when your efforts seem unnoticed, when your energy feels low, but those are the days that matter the most. Because resilience is not built when everything is going well, it is built when you choose to continue despite the lack of immediate reward. It is built when you stay committed to your habits, even when you do not feel motivated. It is built when you trust the process, even when you cannot yet see the results. Over time, this daily commitment transforms you. You become more grounded, more focused, more capable of handling whatever comes your way. You no longer rely on perfect conditions to perform at your best. You create stability from within. You understand that challenges are inevitable, but being unprepared is not. And because you have invested in your resilience every single day, you are ready to face those challenges with confidence, clarity, and strength that has been built through consistent effort and intentional living, shaping you into someone who does not break under pressure but rises through it and continues moving forward regardless of what stands in the way. Surround yourself with belief, because the environment you place yourself in will either expand your vision or quietly shrink it until you begin to doubt what you once knew was possible. No one succeeds in isolation of influence. Every thought you think, every decision you make, every level of confidence you carry is shaped, reinforced, or weakened by what you consistently hear, see, and feel around you. If you are constantly surrounded by doubt, hesitation, and limitation, it does not matter how strong your goals are. Over time, your belief will start to erode. Not all at once, not in an obvious way, but slowly through repeated exposure to voices that question more than they create, that fear more than they act, that settle more than they strive. Belief is contagious. Just like negativity spreads through conversation, mindset, and attitude, so does confidence, vision, and courage. When you are around people who see possibilities instead of problems, who take action instead of making excuses, who push forward instead of holding back, it challenges you to rise to that same level. It shifts your standard. It redefines what feels normal. Suddenly, things that once seemed impossible begin to feel achievable, not because your circumstances changed, but because your perspective did. This does not mean you need to cut everyone off or isolate yourself from those who think differently. It means you need to become intentional about what influences you allow to dominate your space. Because the truth is, your mind absorbs more than you realize. The conversations you listen to, the content you consume, the energy you tolerate, they are all shaping your internal dialogue. And eventually, that internal dialogue becomes the voice that either pushes you forward or holds you back. Surrounding yourself with belief starts with awareness. You begin to notice how certain environments make you feel. Do they energize you or drain you? Do they inspire action or reinforce hesitation? Do they remind you of your potential or make you question your worth? These questions matter because they reveal the invisible forces that are guiding your behavior. Once you become aware, you can make better choices. You can seek out spaces, people, and ideas that align with the person you are trying to become. It also requires courage. Because sometimes choosing growth means stepping away from familiarity. It means spending less time in environments that feel comfortable but limit your potential, and more time in spaces that challenge you to think bigger and act bolder. This can feel uncomfortable at first. It can feel like you are out of place or not yet ready, but that discomfort is a sign that you are expanding. It is a sign that you are placing yourself in environments where growth is possible. Belief is not just something you receive, it is something you contribute. The way you speak, the way you show up, the way you support others, all of it adds to the environment around you. When you choose to encourage, to uplift, to see the potential in others even when they cannot see it themselves, you strengthen the culture of belief around you. And in doing so, you reinforce it within yourself. Because when you consistently operate from a place of belief, it becomes part of your identity. There will be moments when your confidence feels low, when your progress feels slow, when doubt tries to take over. In those moments, the environment you have built around yourself becomes your support system. It reminds you of your strength when you forget it. It challenges your limiting thoughts and replaces them with possibility. It keeps you moving forward when your own motivation begins to fade. Over time, surrounding yourself with belief changes the way you see everything. You begin to approach challenges with confidence instead of fear. You start to take action without waiting for perfect conditions. You trust your ability to figure things out even when the path is unclear. And most importantly, you stop shrinking your goals to fit your environment and start expanding your environment to match your goals. Because at the end of the day, you will rise or fall to the level of the belief that surrounds you. And when you intentionally place yourself in environments that fuel your growth, challenge your limits, and reinforce your potential, you give yourself the greatest advantage possible, building a mindset that refuses to settle and continues to push forward regardless of the obstacles that appear along the way. Play the long game. Because anything truly meaningful in life is built over time, not overnight. And the moment you understand this, you stop chasing quick wins and start creating lasting impact. Most people lose not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they lack patience. They want immediate results, instant recognition, fast success. And when those things do not arrive quickly, they begin to doubt the process, question their path, and eventually give up on something that simply needed more time to grow. The long game requires a different mindset, one that values consistency over intensity, progress over perfection, and direction over speed. When you choose to play the long game, you shift your focus from short-term outcomes to long-term identity. You stop asking, what can I gain today? And start asking, who am I becoming through what I do every day? This shift is powerful because it removes the pressure of immediate success and replaces it with a commitment to continuous growth. You begin to understand that success is not a single moment. It is a series of small, disciplined actions repeated over time. Each effort, each lesson, each adjustment becomes part of a bigger picture that you may not fully see yet, but are actively building with every step you take. The challenge is that the long game is not always visible. There are long periods where it feels like nothing is happening, where your efforts seem unnoticed, where your progress feels slow compared to others. In those moments, it is easy to become discouraged. It is easy to compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10 and feel like you are falling behind. But the truth is, growth is not always loud. It often happens quietly, beneath the surface, in ways that are not immediately obvious. Just because you cannot see results does not mean they are not being created. Playing the long game also requires discipline. Not the kind of discipline that comes from bursts of motivation, but the kind that shows up consistently regardless of how you feel. It is about doing the work when it is boring, when it is repetitive, when it feels like it is not making a difference. Because those are the moments that build mastery. Anyone can perform when they feel inspired, but very few can continue when the excitement fades. And it is in that consistency, in that commitment to keep going, even when it is not exciting, that real progress is made. Another key part of the long game is resilience. There will be setbacks, failures, and unexpected challenges along the way. Plans will not always go as expected. Results will not always match your effort. But when you are committed to the long game, these moments do not define you, they refine you. You learn to adapt, to adjust, to keep moving forward without losing sight of your vision. You understand that failure is not the end, it is part of the process. It provides feedback, not finality. Patience becomes your greatest strength. Not passive waiting, but active persistence. It is the ability to keep working, keep improving, keep showing up without needing immediate validation. It is trusting that the effort you are putting in today will pay off, even if the results are delayed. This kind of patience is rare, but it is what separates those who achieve lasting success from those who constantly start over. Over time, the long game creates momentum. What once felt difficult becomes easier. What once required effort becomes habit. Skills improve, confidence grows, and opportunities begin to appear. Not because of luck, but because of the consistent work you have been putting in when no one was watching. You become someone who is prepared, someone who is ready to take advantage of those opportunities because you have invested in your growth over time. Playing the long game is not about ignoring the present. It is about using the present to build a better future. It is about making decisions today that align with where you want to be tomorrow. It is about staying committed to your vision even when the path is uncertain. And most importantly, it is about understanding that real success is not built quickly, it is built steadily, through patience, discipline, and the willingness to keep going long after others have stopped, creating a journey that continues to evolve and expand as you remain focused on growth and committed to becoming everything you are capable of being over time.